Morning. Welcome to season 2 of the Persecution of Karen Reed.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. There I am in a circle. Good morning.
We are here for day 1 of the retrial of Karen Reed. Yes, the retrial.
Karen Reed.
The Karen Reed trial?
Trial number 2 is off to the races.
Trial number 2 has started.
I am super pumped about this trial.
Let's have a go. We're gonna watch the opening statements.
Opening statements are supposed to be at 9 o'clock. I've got court TV up. They don't have their camera up. But does anything really start on time in Norfolk County, Massachusetts?
The opening statements are important.
I have to get up at dark 30 to watch the opening statements.
The opening statements kind of matter.
Names to Hank Brennan's opening statement.
Opening statements by Hank Brennan and Alan Jackson. Oh my God. Yes.
Y'all are like, opening statements, girl, put them on right now. We're going. Mr. Brennan's opening statements start now.
Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye.
Join Keith Cast.
Shot, you're very kind.
Why we're here today? We are here today because John O'Keefe was killed by the actions and conduct of that defendant, Karen Reed.
That's why we're here. A collision. And there's no evidence of one. Zero.
Nobody's spoken. 12:59.
Maybe he dropped his phone outside, and that's why Jen McCabe had to call it like 50 times because they were looking for the phone and they couldn't find the phone. I don't know. I'm just speculating.
But her message. You'll learn the message says, John, nobody knows where you are. And this is where the plot in the cover-up begins.
The cover.
What?
Yeah,
What?
Karen Reed.
Where that she knew was there. She did not call 911.
What?
She did not go back to him. She did not leave an anonymous tip. She left. They find blood spots. They try to put the blood spots in plastic containers.
Plastic containers.
They don't know what
Sorry.
they're looking for at this point. There's no information. They don't believe.
For those of you that didn't watch the first trial, I apologize for my outburst. Those plastic containers turn out to be red Solo cups. I said no spoilers, but I could not help myself. Plastic containers. Plastic containers. Yep, they are red plastic containers. Yes, they are.
They find some containers. He doesn't want to say red Solo cups. He doesn't want to say it, but we know. They find some containers for the blood. Red Solo cups that are used probably from beer pong with no tops.
He didn't say Proctor's name once.
Never mentioning Trooper Proctor once.
A cancer that cannot be cut out. A cancer that cannot be cured. And that cancer has a name.
I love it.
His name is Michael Proctor.
I was gonna say, is it Proctor?
Now, you didn't hear his name in the prosecution's opening statement.
That hurts. Like, that hurts. Now, you didn't hear his name in the prosecutor's opening statements.
And this is where I think the biggest mistake is. If your argument is data and science, right? Data and science, then in large part, you can bring up Proctor and say, and we don't need him. And I can still prove she did it.
It's all about Proctor. Proctor's on the hot seat. Proctor is the villain here.
And somehow Trooper Proctor is not a cop no more.
The evidence will show that Massachusetts State Police found him guilty, found Michael Proctor guilty of bringing dishonor to the department for his conduct, not in some other case,
Dishonor on you.
not in some tangential case, in this case,
Yep.
the investigation of Karen Reed.
Woof. He got fired for his work in this case.
The lead investigator was fired for their conduct in this case.
He goes through a lot, though, and explain how John O'Keefe was not struck by the vehicle. He says a lot that you're going to find a lot of that out from the Commonwealth's own experts. And a large dog could have caused these injuries. And guess who had a large dog? The person inside 34 Fairview, where Proctor never investigated.
You'll also learn that oddly, very oddly, after having their family pet for 7 years, a short time after this incident, the Alberts got rid of that dog. They called it rehoming her.
Bingo.
She was gone.
Now, I just want to say, if you came to my house and are like, I want to rehome Zora, or I want to rehome Potter, I can tell you how that'd go. It would go like, I'm going to rehome your liver.
It's getting close to argument.
You'll learn
but
that after everyone
you'll
left
find that
Brian Albert's
curious,
house,
but
Brian Albert actually claimed he had no contact with anybody else except his wife. No contact.
Bring the butt dials.
Until he woke up the next morning. So he says. Then you'll learn that that, too, is a complete lie. His phone records establish that he placed a call to none other than Brian Higgins at 2:22 a.m. You'll wonder, what did they possibly need to talk about at 2:22 a.m. that night?
It's close.
The evidence will establish that Brian Albert called Brian Higgins first. Brian Albert then disconnected that call when Higgins didn't answer it. Seconds later, Brian Higgins returned the call. Brian Albert then did answer that call. They spoke for 22 full seconds, had a conversation, then they both hung up their respective phones.
I'm not going to spoil
You'll learn that
it
when they were asked about these
for everyone
calls
who
and,
did this Friday.
and conversations, both Brian Albert and Brian Higgins lied about it.
Because damn.
Both of them. They said they never had a call with each other. But then ultimately, when they were confronted with their own cell phone records and they could no longer deny the calls, they were asked independently, explain yourself. And they both came up with the exact same explanation.
They did.
A butt dial.
This is not bullshit.
Then he goes into the phone stuff and the butt dials, and they say they didn't contact each other, but they did, and
The butt dials, all the butt dials. Butt dials, the butt answering, the butt hanging up. Those are the things that are more significant to me.
You know when the last time I've had a butt dial is? Like a decade ago. How do you butt dial in the modern era? And how do you butt answer in the modern era? Like, it just makes no sense.
You'll also learn after this incident and within days of one another, both Brian Higgins and Brian Albert, both police officers, both trained investigators,
Just their phones just disappeared. Just
got rid of their phones.
so weird.
Both of them.
Just bye. Where'd the phones go?
And what else you'll learn Brian Albert got rid of? Shortly after this incident, Brian Albert got rid of his house, the whole thing. Just sold it. His childhood home, a home that had been in the Albert family for generations.
No dog.
He literally sold it.
No phone.
Mere months after this incident.
No house.
they're busy bees, lying about their phones, destroying their phones, getting rid of their dogs, getting rid of their houses.
In a house that's been sold and a dog that's been rehomed. Like,
Dog rehomed, phones destroyed,
Damn it.
house sold.
Emily, let him cook.
You'll learn that all these things happened shortly after the incident where John O'Keefe was found unresponsive and dying in Brian Albert's front lawn.
This opening statement was focused on the failure of the state to prove their case.
She said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. And it was at that time, with the words of the defendant, that
Now
she
that testimony is
admitted
gonna come out.
what she had done that night, that she hit John O'Keefe.
There was no collision with John O'Keefe. There was no collision. There was no collision.
Is that the
John
3
O'Keefe
points?
did not die from being hit by a vehicle, period. By the end of this trial, you'll conclude that Karen Reed is not guilty of hitting John O'Keefe with her SUV. There was no collision. She's the victim of a botched and biased and corrupted investigation that was never about the truth, folks. It was about preserving loyalty.
God,
You'll find that this
so
case is the
good.
very definition of reasonable doubt. And at the end of this trial, we'll ask you to return the only verdicts, all three of them, that are consistent with the evidence, the science, the truth, and justice. Not guilty, not guilty, not guilty.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson.
It's not I hit him,
Thank you,
I
Mr.
hit him,
Jackson.
I hit him. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not guilty, not guilty, not guilty.
There was no collision. I like it. I like it. I like it.